Hey everyone, Christian here, and I decided to go ahead and do a vlog, not about any particular palm here, but I wanted to talk about the age of these palms, and again, a way that you can tell the age of a palm in, say, a shopping center or an office versus the how old the office would be. So here we are, we're in Cape Coral, and these are three very old. I didn't say very old, but they're pretty old palms. We have a Coeluraphe wrightii, the Everglades palm here, probably about a dozen stems, all about 15 feet tall. Then we have Butea, uh, common name Capitata, but it's probably another species but it's a skinnier type. And then we have a Phoenix reclinata type that appears to be somewhat hybridized with another species. So it doesn't have true reclinata characteristics. But if you look closer at the reclinata, you can see that all the boots are off, the old nubs for the most part, and it's pretty weathered, meaning this has had this much trunk for quite some time. So I imagine this palm is at least 30 years old. Now we're at an older office complex here in a little bit older part of town, so I already know how old this place, or I could estimate pretty well how old this place is. But if you want to know if you were in an older part of town or if you were in a new part of town, you can see that this palm has been growing for quite some time. It has new suckers that are constantly cut off. There's a trunk that was cut off. Maybe it was getting in the way of the power. There's a power line up above it here. You can see right there. And this Butea here, Buteas are not really planted much in Southwest Florida anymore. They're relatively uncommon. I'd say less than 5% of new plantings are Buteas. Maybe in some of the colder areas of Central Florida is where you're going to see more of that planted. And obviously, I'm not. You can just kind of tell how old this is by it already has somewhat of a root boss going on there. It's leaning. It probably has gone through Hurricane Charlie and possibly some other ones as well. And it's still standing though, and it looks pretty healthy. It doesn't have a large crown. This is sort of a skinnier palm. Has a skinnier characteristic about it. It doesn't have massive leaves. It's more of the I want to say like what's the best term for this? It's just an overall a daintier Butea for compared to other ones with longer leaflets, more tropical looking. This is more subtropical looking, a little bit bluer, a little bit more rigid leaflets. So, and with this Coeluraphe, this could be a little bit deceiving. This palm could be here only 5 years and could have been planted this size. Now it's unusual, so I'm gonna guess this palm is also around the same 30-year age. It could be only 15 years old, but or planted 15 years ago. But you can see that it has had many trunks that have been cut off. When they start to get really old, they start to wet the old leaf base, old petioles will come off, and you can see that one starting to show it. Maybe a couple others, one other one over there, and so the other way you can kind of notice when they get older, they kind of get, for lack of a better term, uglier in the sense that they have a smaller crown. It could just be the lack of fertilizer or nutrition, but it's most likely just because of age. When they get really old, they kind of look like a lot of palms do. They don't look quite as nice as they do when they're younger. When they're at face height. So and you can see the weathering on these palms. You can see that that it has lichen and moss that's been growing on it. There's the boots are kind of falling apart from rot over many years, and this one doesn't have any at all, which you'll often see. There's some up by the crown, of course, which you'll always see, but the older ones are just kind of gone. There's just a little bit of remnants of some nubs there. It looks like it's been hybridized with possibly some Robolini, just from the plumose. It's not plumose, but it's multi-pinnate, in the sense that it has pinnae going in multiple planes. So if you were to compare that to, say, this Adnidia here, you can tell that this palm is not nearly as old. The way you can really tell is when you buy palms from a nursery, they're usually taken care of optimally in the sense that they get proper fertilizer and nutrition. The bases here are nice and swollen. That's what the base of an Adnidia should look like. The rings are going to be further apart, and as we get closer towards, I don't have my vlog stick with me, so I'm just using one hand here. the you can see the leaf bases start to get closer and closer together here, and also on that the trunk of that one as well as it approaches the crown. So this palm is probably less than 5 years old here. I'd say looks like it was planted probably around somewhere in that area, so maybe even just like 3 years old. It has some weathering, so it's going to be a little bit newer of a palm. And as we go over here, you can see these adenidias here are also going to be newer, and the you can tell the difference in the leaf base scars. You can see how far apart they are down here, and they're starting to get a little bit narrower right about in that area. So again, about 3 years or so, I imagine. And here's an Aceleraceae here that is, it's really, again, hard to tell how old this one is because it has a lot of new growth down below, which is often cut off earlier on in the palm's life. And then it has this old growth up here. So this might have been a newer planting, but that crown is basically dead. So that one's probably going to get chopped off. It's a little bit daintier. I mean, we're talking these trunks are skinny. I mean, that's 2.5 inches maybe, especially if the old leaf bases were taken off, maybe 2 inches. And so they're quite tiny there. Some of them are trying to produce some seed. Again, these they look like they're in the best shape. They didn't produce any good seed. I don't see really the remnants of any sort of seed husk sitting on the bracts. So probably didn't put out any seed there. And as a result, it just isn't doing so well. The bottom seems to be doing well. And this is often the case where this is why on a Aceleraceae, people will trim up the bottom so the tops will get more of that they'll focus the nutrients towards the top, because these look really nice and you have healthy bases, fatter trunks, and just nicer looking leaflets, a larger crown altogether. So it really is hard to say what the optimal way is. I think a mixture of both, maybe cutting a few of the trunks off but not all of them, because the Aceleraceae is supposed to be both a ground dweller like this and a trunking, a tall, dainty palm. So having a mixture of both is really key to the ideal looking Everglades palm. So anyway, that's about it for this vlog. I just wanted to do this quickly as I had a little bit of free time. Hadn't been vlogging for a while, hadn't been going out very much for obvious reasons. So hope everyone stays safe out there. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more palm related videos, consider subscribing. If you have any questions about these palms and their ages and their requirements, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you guys gals as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see everyone later. Stay safe.